Hey everyone, it's Laurel here. Thanks so much for joining me today for another video. Today I'm going to be using some Winnie and Walter Stamps and some Wendy Vecchi Crackle Embossing Paste, which I just love. Two products, two companies, I love them. This is the card that I'm going to be making today. It's actually fairly simple with the steps, but you get so much with the texture from the stamps and the embossing powder and the embossing paste. So I'm going to be using the Winnie and Walter Big, Bold, and Extra stamp set. But before I get to that, I'm going to go ahead and use this as a Tim Holtz stencil. It's called Splatters. And I'm going to go ahead and create my background there. So I adhered that stencil down to my craft sheet. And this is the Wendy Vecchi Crackle Embossing Paste. And I'm going to go ahead and put this embossing paste down. Now, embossing paste is precious to me, so I make sure I use everything. So I'm grabbing it from the lid there. So I'm just going to spread that on just like you're frosting a cake or a cupcake or anything like that. I'm using a palette knife here, but if you don't have one, you can use the flat edge of cardstock, or you can probably use a plastic knife or an old gift card or credit card or whatever, anything with a flat edge. And I'm just spreading that on to my stencil, and I'm making sure that I'm putting a smooth application on. So I'm just going over with that palette knife, and then as long as it's smooth and all of my stencil design has been covered, I'm good to go. So I'm going to peel that stencil up, and then you get this like puffed up white dimension, the detail of the stencil, which is super cool, but as it dries, it gets even cooler. Now, I didn't catch this on video, and I apologize, but I just grabbed some Zing embossing powder, and I sprinkled some onto some parts of the wet embossing paste. I'm sorry I didn't catch that on video. But as it dries, you'll see here in the video. So this is a close-up of what I'm going to be working on next. Now again, this is the Winnie and Walter Big, the Bold, and the Extra stamp set, and I love it. I love the sentiments, I love the flowers, I love the banner, I love everything about it. So I'm going to be using some W+9 ink here. I just discovered it a couple of weeks ago, and I got all the colors. I absolutely love it. They stamp beautifully, you get nice clean impressions, and I love the colors in her line. And now I'm going to go on with that detail image of the flower, and I'm going to stamp it with some Versamark. And then I'm going to sprinkle on some embossing powder by Wow. It leaves this nice fun glitter finish. All of the supplies and the exact colors and whatnot is going to be linked up below in my YouTube description and also over on my blog. So I'm taking a cue from Jennifer McGuire. She uses these coffee filters, which you get like 500 in a pack for next to nothing. So that's what I'm doing there. She's got some brilliant organizational ideas, and I usually adapt them and use them because she's just, brilliant. So now I'm going to take the banner here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to stamp it with Versamark, and I'm going to sprinkle on some of that same embossing powder. Now, had I thought ahead, I wouldn't have crinkled up my coffee filter just yet, but I kind of plan this as I go. I don't do sketches or anything like that. So anyways, I'm going to take that same embossing powder and sprinkle it on, and then heat set it as well. And I think it ties together very nicely with the detail of the flower and the embossing powder. I just love this, And I think pairing the embossing powder and the embossing paste with some amazing stamp sets like this Winnie and Walter one, you just got gold, You can't go wrong. So now I'm going to take some more W+9 ink. Again, I don't know the colors off the top of my head since they're fairly new, but they will be linked below if you care. And stamp the leaves, and then I went ahead and mounted my sentiment onto an acrylic block and stamped that inside of the banner that we just heat embossed. Now I'm going to take some liquid platinum embossing powder, which I love. You guys, if you follow my video, you know I use it all the time, and it pretty much goes with everything. And I'm going to heat set that. Now I didn't catch that I got some of that embossing powder on my leaves, but I was pleasantly surprised with how it looks, so I'm going to end up using it. I love happy mistakes, don't you? So now I'm going to go ahead and heat set that embossing powder we put over the top of the embossing paste. You have to heat set your powder or it's not going to stick. So I went ahead and did that, and I just love the look that it leaves behind. And I love when the white crackle embossing paste, when it dries and you get this crackle look. It's so stinking cool. And I'll show you a close-up of that in just a second. So you get the kind of the bubbly look from the embossing powder, and then you're going to get the crackling look from the embossing paste, and it's just a very nice combination, I think. So here's a close-up of what that looks, and then we're going to pull the card together and we'll be done. So there's my hat. Hi, hat. So I went ahead and cut out the flowers and the leaves, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere them down, kind of hanging off the banner just a little bit with some Tombow multi-liner glue. Any glue that you have in your stash will work. Me and the little cutouts were having a little fight here, so I did do some editing, so you didn't see me. The glue kept getting stuck on my finger, and I kept dropping my little cutouts. It was humorous. Anyway, so now I'm going to use some double-sided tape. Whatever you have in your stash works. I use the Scotch double-sided tape. I love it because you can just rip it with your fingers, as you can see here. There are other tapes on the market that you have to cut with scissors, and I'm a lazy stamper. I like to find the easy products to use. And I wanted to pop this up, the banner up with some dimension. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere that panel down that we created with the stencil and the embossing paste and the embossing powder. I'm going to adhere that down to some yellow textured cardstock. I don't know where that cardstock is from. I had it in my stash, but I like the little subtle texture on it. And then I'm going to take the banner and adhere that down after peeling off the backing paper from the dimensional tape there, and then we're pretty much done. The only thing I did that I didn't catch on camera was I put a lot of Wink of Stella in clear on that flower. It doesn't really show up on camera very well, but it's there, and it just ties together with all that wonderful Crackle embossing paste, the sparkly embossing powder. I just think this card is so much fun, and I love that Winnie and Walter stamp set. It's so cool. I love the banners and the sentiments and everything about it. So thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.